Elise, this is your fiance's mother, if you weren't aware of that already. Tomorrow, you'll be coming all the way out to my house to introduce yourself, correct? For it to be the day before such an event, yet not a single introduction from you yourself yet, I think I'm starting to already understand the kind of person that you are.
Is that you, Mom? Good evening, my name is Elise. Thank you so much for getting in touch with me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm sure it's not the best look introducing myself to you like this over text, but I'm sorry that it took me until now to talk with you directly.
In this day and age, such a convenient system as texting has become a major way of networking, correct? How come you never thought about introducing yourself to me over text long before today? You might not be a good fit for my son after all.
That's very true. I'm sorry. I should have been asking him for your number and everything back when we started to get very serious. From now on, I promise to be more aware of things like that.
And did you just call me Mom a second ago? I am not your mother-in-law yet. Now am I? What has got you thinking you can just marry my son already without me being involved? There has to be an end to you being so presumptuous.
You're right. Like you just said, I'm getting too far ahead of myself here. I am so sorry about that. Then would you like me calling you Jared's mother? Or do you prefer me just calling you Daisy instead?
You're wanting to call me mother still though, correct? You must really think you're a smart cookie, huh? No, you're going to call me Daisy whether you like it or not.
That's right, which is why I suggested it. So from now on, I'll be addressing you as Daisy and nothing else, alright?
How about you think about whether that is good enough for me or not?
Sorry.
So tomorrow, you'll be coming here with your mother, correct?
That's right. Jared told me that you were wanting for her to come along with me as well, so she'll be coming right alongside me to introduce herself to you.
Well, of course she will be. You really don't seem to have an understanding of this whole situation at all, do you? If I weren't going to ask for her to come along with you to show me what kind of people you both truly are, then none of tomorrow would be worth my time.
And that's not a problem for us at all. I understand that this will only be our first time meeting one another in person, but I don't mind having my mom coming along at all to meet with you. After all, you're the one who is asking this of us, so let's the plan.
Of course you will be. Now understand this. My family is a very strict family compared to most in this day and age. And if you are wanting to get married to my son, then you have to be prepared for that.
That's what I presumed. Understood, Daisy. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow so that we can take the time to talk all sorts of things over. And please, let Jared know that I look forward to seeing him as well tomorrow.
I told you, correct? About how my family is more strict than any other I know in this day and age. To think that the mother of the child my son brought along asking to marry would be a high school graduate.
I remember you saying things about being a strict family, but what you just did all because you aren't fond of us? That was too.
Slapping lowlifes like her is only natural. Now, before you leave, allow me to give you one as well. I want to make sure before my visitors leave that they don't come back ever again. Remember that this family is one of a business owner, and it is not the kind of house that two lowlife trash like you are allowed to come into. If you were at least a really good-looking woman and became something like an accessory to my son, then I might think twice about shooing you away. But having seen your simple face in person, there is no way you are a fit for my son.
Do you really have to say things like that to me now too? I can see that you're already very proud of what you call your business owner family, but that never means you can assault someone like you did today.
Huh? And what do you know about the rights and wrongs of being a business owner?
When it comes to them, they should put the relations they have with others at the forefront. Not only can those relations lead to very prosperous business, but they may also lead to said business owner being left to hang.
Please, don't start making me laugh over that, all right? What makes you think you know enough about us to say that? Let me ask you again, what do you know about us business owners?
That's the kind of behavior I'm talking about, Daisy.
The idiot daughter of a low-life mother is saying that about me? I take a look around you and get out of this place.
Are you sure you want me to leave? All right then, but I told you, right? I told you who I am and who my mom is. Consider this the end of your family's company.
Huh? Go ahead and try to crush us. That's the kind of thing I'd expect any brainless idiot to say to me when they know they have been cornered. Did you really think something like that would stand as a threat to me?
That wasn't meant to be a threat, actually. That was just me reminding you that your soon business will be no more, and that you will regret what you did today. And when that happens, You can just sit there sucking your finger and sobbing as your whole world comes down around you.
Very annoying. What are you saying you could possibly ever do to me? I want your brainless mother and you to get as far away from my son as you possibly can. Consider your engagement to my son over with. Now you, hurry up and get out of my house right now.
Understood, Daisy. Just please don't come at me as I make my way out of here.
Elise, I'm so sorry about what all just happened here. When it comes to my mom, she has always been a bit much for everyone. She is just a very confident woman when it comes to herself. Actually, she was even more intense than just that. I always figured there was a bit of a problem for always judging others in such a bad light, but I think she would ever take things as far as she had today. I'm sure that all of this only sounds like a terrible excuses to you for her actions. I really am so sorry. Is your face along with your mom's face alright? It looked like my mom got you a lot worse than she got your mom, though.
Jared, thanks for still thinking of reaching out to me after that. I'm actually alright at the moment. But that smack she got on me right as I ran out of your house shocked me a lot. However, I did see that you were even more surprised by that than I was. So up until today, your mother had never done anything like that to anyone else?
No, she'd done things like that to me before when I was younger. But to think that she would take those measures against two people she had only just met? And what makes it even worse is that you're my fiance. How can she call herself civilized if she's doing things like that now? I really do feel so bad for you, and I hope that I can make all of this up to you somehow.
Well, since you didn't know what was going to happen to my mom and I'm sure you had no chance of defending me better. Even I couldn't believe that was unfolding in front of my eyes at the time. But that was the first time I had ever seen such an angry and disappointed look on your face before. I know that my mom and I had to leave that place so quickly, but were things all right with you after all that? I'm fine with never having to go around your mother ever again, but what about you? I know she's your real mother and all. I'm just a bit worried that you don't want to have such a distant relationship from her, if you do still marry me.
You really are so kind. Even though you got slapped in the face really hard not too long ago, you're still taking the time to worry about how I feel. Well, if you're really worried about me, I'm fine. And I'll be fine because this really helped me open my eyes.
What do you mean?
For as long as I can remember, my life has always been about having to be under that woman's rule. Of course, because of that, I was able to go to a really good university and all, so I'm thankful for all of that. But, at the same time, I've never been able to do the things I've wanted to do. I was never able to freely move on my own either. Well, that's over with. I'm no longer going to do what she says any longer. To me, she isn't all that important anymore. Will not be in control of my life forever. Today has taught me that I need to break free forever.
I see. I totally understand what you mean about having to always live under her rule and never having the ability to make any choices of your own. Honestly, I found it really odd for, after what she done yesterday, to get in touch with me and talk like she was this goddess compared to me and everyone else. Having gone and taken your phone away from you and scrolled through all your contacts until she could find mine, and then texting me afterwards from her phone. Something told me that she was kind of a wild card at that moment.
Yeah, you can tell there's something far more crazy about her than anyone else as well. To be honest myself, I've always been a bit embarrassed by the things she's done as a wife and mother. But she had always been my mother, and I never had another, so I just assumed that's what all mothers were like and never really thought anything until recently. I really should have known though. There was something completely off about the woman.
Yeah, I really don't like saying things like this about other people's family members, but there is something blatantly wrong about your mother.
And when I saw the relationship that you and your mom share, it really did make sense to me that my mom wasn't like anyone else's. That everyone else grew up with the love and affection that my mom never gave me. She would always judge everything that I did, and tell me not to do anything I wanted to do. And she had this superiority complex that she tried so hard to let rub off onto me. And what's even more scary than all of that? That she will do whatever it takes to make sure that she's on top, no matter how much it can hurt others.
Well, that's kind of the feeling I got from her tonight. Literally, I mean.
After what she said and did to you and your mom, I'm going to have to cut ties to her now. And then, I'll need to give her the perfect parting gift afterwards. Then she's never going to be able to have her way with everyone ever again.
You're going to prepare her a parting gift?
I am so very sorry about what happened the other day. I never thought that your mother would happen to be the CEO of my husband's most important customer. I had no idea something like that could have been possible. Can you please find some way to forgive me for the rude behavior I had the other day?
So you've finally come around to noticing all of that? My mom happens to live overseas at the moment, so that was probably going to be the one and only time you will ever see her. As for her company, she has always left others in charge of it while she's out of the US, and will only tend to things that require her expertise. And because of that, I can totally understand why you, and perhaps even your husband, had no clue who she was when she came over to see you.
So, she's always overseas now, is she? Is that right? Then I suppose what you're saying is correct. There was, of course, no way for us to know who your mother was at the time. So does that mean we can let everything that happened the other day go past us without there being any more troubles involved?
I'm sorry, but that's not how things work in the business world.
What?
Do you remember what it was that you did to my mom and I the other day? When her and I came inside and started to talk, you randomly lashed out and slapped my mom across the face. And then as I was trying to run out of your house, when you said I could go, you hit me too. My mom at the time never said anything to you about that because she was so done with you that day. But she told me that at the moment in time she felt your hand hitting her cheek, she no longer wanted to work with your family's company. We assumed that you guys would all be able to grow close to one another over the ties you held. But considering it was you that decided to make the first poor move that day, my mom had no choice but to judge you as just that, a violent and animalistic child. So it's no surprise to anyone now that she no longer wants to work with your husband's company.
Hey, you do not have to say all of those things. If you are to get married to my son here soon, then we should all come together as one big family and run out companies together. That would be perfect outcome, right? Wow, I am so happy about what the future will hold. To think that someone as strong as your mother, who is also a business owner, will be giving us her daughter.
I can see you're having a ball there going on and on about a situation where everything is still revolving around you. But there's no reason to be thinking all of that will come true. Everything has already been decided now, and that future you're so happy about does not exist in it. From here on out, my mom is going to be ending all contracts and relations she has had with your husband's company.
But Elise, you want to get married to Jared, right? If that's really what you're wanting, then wouldn't it be best for you to stop trying to fight my family now and learn to be kind to one another? If you are really going to marry my son still, then there is no way for you or your mom to end those contracts with my husband, right?
How much longer are you going to act like you still have the high ground? I am going to marry your son, don't get me wrong. But you and your husband's opinion on that marriage means nothing to us now.
Please, don't say something so stupid right now. Without the approval of both my husband and I for Jared, there is no way he'll be able to marry you. Now, as long as you and your mother are willing to continue healthy consumer relations with my family's company. Actually, if you and your mother are willing to create even deeper customer relations with my family's company on a financial scale, then my husband and I will be more than happy to allow you both to get married. Do you understand that?
You are utterly awful at doing negotiations. To the point, I really don't think you do anything for your husband's company at all.
Huh? What did you just say about me?
Allow me to say this one more time to you. Your husband's and your approval means nothing to us. Jared has already told me that he'll now be cutting ties to you. And for myself, that is wonderful news that I never thought I'd hear from him.
What are you going on about? There's no reason for someone like Jared to be cutting ties to us anytime soon. He is our son after all. And all the time and effort I put into raising him into the man he is now wasn't free. Do you have any idea the amount of money it took to make him the man he is today? Yet you're saying to me that he feels no appreciation for that at all and wants to cut ties to me? Huh. I never said that this conversation was meant to be a comedy for you.
And that's just how you view things, is all, Daisy. But to Jared, he feels as though all you've ever done was control him and turn him into your puppet of sorts to help boost that unsightly ego of yours. And whenever he didn't listen to your opinions and do as you said, you'd slap and punch him with such force that it seemed you weren't his mother at all. He told me that he really had to grind his teeth at some points after you hit him because he knew that he was big enough to fight back and win against you.
Huh? That's the way things are though when dealing with kids. Neither of you have ever had a child before, so you wouldn't have a clue what it's like to have punished bad behavior. If they do not listen and do everything you say to the letter, then they have to be punished in the same way a savage dog would be. And that's what us parents call in education.
You're wrong about that. Parents are supposed to raise and nurture their children, but that does not mean that everything the parent is doing is right and should therefore be what the child does as well. I don't believe that parents who only want their children to listen and never learn are not educating their children at all. And Jared agrees with the same logic as me. Jared has told me that as long as he has to live under your husband and your reign, he cannot breathe and will not be able to live. And that is why he's now wanting to break free and become his own person.
And so what? If he's to break free from both his father and I, what does he think he's going to go and do with himself? I made sure to raise him only for one thing, and that's to take over his father's position after he's gone and stepped down from it. If he doesn't take over the family company, it will be him who is in trouble.
I'm really sorry to burst your bubble again, but it will be you guys who are in trouble.
What did you say?
At first, the plan was for my mom and I to completely ruin your company. But when I thought about how it was the same company that Jared would one day be taking over, I stopped myself for a bit. I didn't want to do that to his future, and that's what stopped me in my tracks. But Jared has told me that he never wanted to take over that company of yours and really wants to start his own company later on after we get married.
Huh? That kid thinks he's going to go out and start a company of his own now?
Yes, that's right. He has already been working a lot on the type of business he wants to run and has even started creating his own LLC.
What are you talking about? There's no way that kid can do all of that by himself right now.
He is a very sharp man, though. It has never been about him being able to or not, but about him being allowed to or not. And when it comes to you, you have never once allowed him to do anything he had wanted to do with his skills and intelligence.
So then what are you trying to get at with all of this?
I'm saying that since Jared isn't going to be taking over your family company anymore, it's 100% okay for my mom and I to go ahead and crush your company. We are ending all of the contracts and all relations had with your company. And if you want to keep yourselves afloat, you're going to have to take those matters into your own hands.
Just when I thought that you'd actually listen to my pleas for your help, you're taking things further and farther out of my reach. There's no way that boy is going to be able to create his own company and have it go well for him.
You don't really have to be so worried about that right now. Luckily, my mom is going to be helping him every now and then along the way, since she's a pro at running businesses and such. And if he really needs it, she said she'd be willing to even finance his whole entire company for him. So how about you begin to worry more about yourselves than a complete stranger's business?
Then that means, what's going to end up happening to our company over here?
What's going to happen to it? It's going to be crushed and you'll never have access to it again, right?
This is your fiance's parents' company you're talking about. You're just going to treat us like we're strangers?
Yeah, I will. I mean, my fiance is quite literally saying that he'll be cutting ties to the both of you now. In other words, that makes you both strangers to him and I, right?
No way. How dare you screw around with me like this?
You guys are the most amazing business owners, right? You bullied the hell out of people like me because of that before, right? Well, if you're as amazing as you say you are, then you guys should be able to handle all of this no problem, right? But you won't be able to. It's not you who means anything to the company, because your husband is the only one actually doing anything.
You cut it out right now, getting carried away like that around a woman as powerful as me.
By the way, Daisy, with the way things have been going recently, I'm going to presume that your husband will be divorcing you soon and kicking you out of the family.
Huh? Now what the hell are you going on about? What does my husband and my relationship have to do with anything?
You see, Jared was always keeping quiet about this around you and I, but he happens to know about how you have been having secret relations with a man that doesn't happen to be his father. Did you ever notice that he was aware of that?
What? What are you talking about, Elise?
You know better than anyone else what I'm talking about right now. And the evidence for what's been said is on its way to your house right now. We assume that your husband is going to want to take you to court over it. And so we made sure to pack that envelope with as much evidence that could physically fit in it. Jared said that he's going to leave the way all the evidence is used up to his father.
Huh? Those things you have on me, you've gone and sent over to our house? I'm not playing around anymore, Elise. What the hell do you think you're doing to me right now?
Seems that your son has been working with a detective this whole entire time to gather all of those pictures and videos. When he first began to notice things were going on behind his back, he went and asked a friend who works in the business to help and confirm whether or not he was sensing what was true. He didn't think much would come from any of it, but then before he could comprehend what he was seeing, there was loads of evidence sitting right in front of him. As your son, he was in a lot of shock for some time, he said.
What the hell was he? That kid. Why would he ever?
If you didn't know this already, kids happen to pay the closest attention to what their parents are doing. Of course, they don't understand everything that you say as adults, but they do know what you're doing may be wrong or right. It also seems that the man you've been sleeping with behind your husband's back is also a married man. The fact that you are both cheating on someone else, it makes me feel sick to my stomach. So now that he knows about the both of you, Jared has gone and sent that evidence to your secret man's house as well for his wife to see. It also seems that the man you've been with is a type who doesn't do anything at all with himself, so it'll probably be his wife who sees that what's in the mail before him anyway. If that's really the case, then she's going to be asking you for a settlement as well, don't you think?
How could you do something so needless to me? Why would you ever do this to someone like me?
I wasn't the one who did all of this. Rather, your own son did. And he told me that it's something like a revenge which he's taken on you as his final act of love. All this time, everything has been about you. about your ego, and about how everything has to go the way you planned it to. And all of that has been choking him like he was having to breathe underwater. But in reality, there was nothing about you which should have been holding him under like that. And so he's decided to lift himself out of the water now. I'm sure you don't understand just how sad all of this has made your son though, since he was made to believe that all this time, what you've been doing to him was correct.
You can't. Stop that. There's no reason for you to do something like that to me, right?
For someone who always acted like they were better than everyone else for supposedly running her own company, you really don't know anything about doing business and are more brainless than anyone else I know. And your son is aware of that just as much as your husband will be now too. For being so brain dead yet still trying to brag about the kind of self-proclaimed God that you believe you are, you deserve to rot in hell for the rest of time. And just like I was saying to Daisy about what would happen, the wife of the man she had been cheating on her husband with got in touch with her and was able to get a massive settlement from her, leaving Daisy in despair. Her husband's company started to go downhill on the path to bankruptcy after my mom and I went ahead and canceled on contracts with him, and that then led to him divorcing his wife, blaming her for both that her and the cheating had done as well. Her husband would also blame her for being the reason Jared cut ties to them, which led to even more fighting between them before the divorce had been made final. And when she was out of his house, the final thing her husband did before he himself left town and his failing company was get every penny he could out of the man Daisy had been sleeping with. As for myself, after Jared went and cut ties to both of his parents, him and I went and got married and had our wedding with all my family and his friends invited. When it comes to Daisy herself, having had to pay for 2 settlements and being kicked out of her now ex-husband's house, she had nothing she could do besides start living on the streets. She did attempt to go to every one of her family members' houses, no matter how distant they were to her, and begged for their help in getting off the streets and back under a roof. But not a single person wanted anything to do with her and would not help her out at all before they slammed the door in her face. It just so happens it wasn't only her son and random strangers she always acted so high and mighty around, but her own family members outside her house as well. And that is why none of them care for the way she's ended up now, besides telling her that they told her so a long time ago. And to both Jared and myself, we see that the outcome is something she had coming her way for a very long time now. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.